it's Cassie, and welcome to This Budget Life. Today, I really wanted to take a moment to think about the upcoming year. We are almost into 2022, and I've been thinking a lot about what I want my financial goals to be, what I want my life to look like this time next year. And there's a lot of work that I have to do to get there, but that's what it's all about, right? That's what setting goals is all about. That's what reflection is all about. And so I really wanted to take you along with me as I take a look and set my financial goals for 2022. So I have with me right here, this is the Budget by Paycheck boxed set. This is the instructions and yearly spending booklet that's a part of the boxed set. This is where Miko, the budget mom, has developed all of her annual worksheets. And if we were to take a look inside this worksheet, let's see if I can get you centered up. Here we go. And we flip open past the instruction sheets. Her very first sheet that she always has is your financial plan and goal worksheet. Since I started following the Budget Mom earlier this year, it was really March that I began my budgeting journey because I had a baby and it really caused me to think about my priorities, think about just kind of like what my finances were doing in my life. And so I had been following Miko for a little bit, but never really made the plunge to start on her workbook, start on her worksheets. But one of the big things that she always talks about in her videos is really understanding the why. Why are you working on your financial plans? And so this is why her very first worksheet is always the goal sheet. So you can see I have started filling some of it out. Some of my medium-term goals and my long-term goals I will touch on in another video because I'm still trying to decide if these really are the goals that I want to hit. But I am very certain about my short-term goals or the goals that I want to attain within 2022. So I have dubbed 2022 as the year of savings. I thought long and hard about whether or not I wanted to pay off as much debt as I could, or if I wanted to set aside savings for my future. And ultimately, I came to the conclusion that for my personal financial journey is that I would like to set myself up with savings and set my future up for success while still working on paying off my debt, but not being super aggressive until I can get a safety net around myself first. So a little bit of background about myself. If this is one of your first videos of mine, I'm 34 years old. I live in Austin, Texas, and it's a very high cost area of living. And I have a 9-month-old son. I pay an exorbitant amount in daycare. I'm building a house. And some of these things were already in motion before I even began my financial journey. And I never really thought about what were some of these long-term consequences of doing all these things. And the nature of what has happened this year is that I have no savings really, because the savings that I do have has been being dumped into the house that I'm currently building. What's going to happen to me when I move into that house? My savings are going to be depleted, and I really don't want to put myself in that situation for the long term. Yes, that's why I'm thinking about the year of savings for 2022, and my debt will come as a secondary goal of mine. It's still a very high priority goal, but the savings is the first goal. They always say, you know, when you think about self-care or when you think about just really any kind of scenario like that, is like when you're on an airplane, they always tell you to put your oxygen mask on first before assisting others. And that's kind of what I'm thinking about and looking at this year as, is I'm trying to put my oxygen mask on first with my year of savings. So in order for me to do that, my very first priority goal, and I have said it multiple times in a lot of the cash stuffings or budget with me's that I have been working on, is my very first priority goal is that I want to get 1 month ahead on my bills. Not only do I feel like it'll just kind of take the burden off of some of this living paycheck to paycheck lifestyle that I've been in for a while, But I think, again, it'll kind of build in a little bit of a safety net structure for myself if anything were to happen. Currently, I am a full-time salaried employee. My husband is also a full-time salaried employee. But those kinds of situations could change at any given moment. I'm not personally making any plans to make that change, but it could happen. So how I'm going to do this, like I've got a plan of how I want to approach this. So the very first thing that I want to get 1 month ahead on is my bills. I'm actively working on this through my savings challenges and my sinking funds. If you haven't seen my savings challenges on a tight budget video, I can go ahead and link that below, because I show some of the things that I'm doing to try and assist myself to get 1 month ahead on my bills. And that's something that I'm actively working on. So currently my goal is to get about $1,100 in my 1 month ahead envelope. And I'm right now sitting at about $200 something. So I've been making progress. I'm not super close, but being that I only started that envelope like 3 weeks ago, I think that's a pretty good start. The other categories that I want to get ahead on are going to be my debt, mainly my credit card payments. That's something that I would like to incorporate into my cash stuffing, so that way when I'm 1 month ahead on these things, I can just pull all the cash out, set aside that cash, and then set it on auto pay. That's my dream. And then eventually, once I get into the house, this would take a lot more discipline. I don't know if it'll get done this year with all the other things that I have going on, but it would be really, really, really amazing to get 1 month ahead on my mortgage. My mortgage is probably going to be $1,000 more than what I'm currently paying in my housing costs. So yeah, it's going to be quite a goal for me. Now, for the short-term portion of this goal, to get 1 month ahead on my bills, I'm giving myself until March to do that. And considering I'm about, a fourth of the way there after only 3 weeks, I really feel like I can hit this goal, but I am planning on getting 1 month ahead on my bills by the month of March. And then once that happens, then I will start that envelope right over again and start working on all of my debt. The second short-term priority goal of mine is to set up my short-term emergency fund. Again, this is one of those things where I really need to put my oxygen mask on first. And I feel one way of doing that is making sure that I'm not tempted to get into further debt if emergencies come up. And so my short-term emergency fund, I would like to have $1,000 in that envelope, and then, eventually move it to the bank. And I'm giving myself till June to do that. That one, because 1 month ahead has been my priority before the emergency fund, that one, I have $100 in there. I'm 1/10 of the way there. I know I could make better progress with that one, but that's the plan, to give myself to the first half of the year. And then, what I'm planning on doing is filming a mid-year check-in on my goals to see how I'm doing. And so I would really like to have that short-term emergency fund established by mid-year. Now let's talk about some of these longer-term goals within 2022. So these are things that I would like to be done by the end of 2022. And now let's talk about my debt. I haven't quite come clean about my current debt situation yet. I'm kind of waiting for things to settle down with the house to really get established and see what it's looking like with that. The main thing that I have in my life is consumer debt, consumer credit card debt. And that's just from all of my 20s, basically having bad spending habits. So I myself have I have 4 credit cards myself. My husband only has 1. But the amount on his credit card is still pretty high. So when I'm looking at my debt picture, I am combining both of our consumer credit card debt. So my plan, there's about $3,800 between 2 credit cards that I'm really eyeballing for 2022. And by the end of December 2022, I would like to have paid off both of those credit cards. That would be my American Express card. That's currently sitting at a balance of $1,400. And then I have a Synchrony or Care credit card. That was because I had to get dental work done, and I'm still in the process of finishing up that dental work. It was quite a bit of stuff that I had to get done. So there's currently about $2,400 still left to pay off of that card. But that card is my highest interest rate. I hate it so much. It feels like I'm not making any progress on that one. And I would really like to see that one disappear by the end of the year. The caveat is that I still have dental work that I have to get done past this initial round of Invisalign and all the things I had to get a lot of stuff done. So there's still like a second portion of my dental work that has to get done. I do have good dental insurance, but it's not going to cover everything. So I'm still trying to figure out how I'm going to finance all of that, whether it's rolling it back onto that credit card that I hate so much. I really don't want to do that. The problem is that I've got a lot of big things coming up at the end of the year that kind of are getting in the way with me trying to find a way to cash flow the rest of those procedures that I need done. So right now, that's why I'm going to do a mid-year check-in. But right now, that's why I'm saying I want to pay off 2 of the credit cards. If I can't cash flow or do something about that dental work and have to put it back on that card, that'll become priority number 1 in my life to pay off. And then I hinted that at the end of the year, I have 2 very big events coming up. I have 2 weddings that I'm in. One is my sister, one is my best friend from college. So what I really, really, really want to do is cash flow the wedding costs and not go into further debt for that. So both of these weddings, I have to do multiple flights, but then the bigger stuff, like the bigger parties, I've got one that's just like the party, but one, my sister's, is the ceremony and the party. All of these events are out of state. So I have to fly no matter where I'm going. So I'd really like to cash flow the wedding costs. And I'm assuming right now it's going to be about $4,000. That's just kind of my estimate right now. I think another video that I do want to film is going to be like budgeting for a vacation. And I really want to break everything down on a worksheet and see what it is I have to save for. But that's going to be 3 plane tickets, a car rental, the outfits for the wedding, and then the food while we're there. I'm thinking just of the one for my sister right now, which will be the biggest cost. So that's a big priority, is I really don't want to put any of those weddings on credit cards. And then finally, I have to come back to my why. Why am I doing all of this year of savings and really trying to think ahead and establish myself and set myself up for success while still trying to pay off debt? My why is my son, Benjamin. He is the light of my life. He came into my life 2 weeks early in February of 2021, and he put a lot of things into perspective and a lot of things into focus for me. And I realized that the way that I was handling money I was not comfortable with it anymore, because I have someone who is completely dependent upon me. So in my savings challenges for a tight budget video, I shared that I'm doing a $5 savings challenge. I'm doing the 52-week savings challenge. I'm saving my change. Those are just the main ones that I'm working on right now. I'm going to be working on the Budget Moms 2022 savings challenges. And everything from the 52-week challenge is going to go into my son's. I want to start an investment account for him. I think I want to try and, attack that number a little bit more. Right now I have it set at about a $1,500 goal. I would like to eventually get that number up to $5,000, but by the end of this year, my goal is to have $1,500 in an investment account for him, so that way I can get started on some compound interest for him and let that ride. But really, he's my why, and I'm trying to save for his future as well. So I feel like these are some really great goals for myself. I feel like all of these are attainable. Putting them down on paper, putting them out on a video can definitely help me stay accountable to myself, doing some check-ins with myself to see how I'm doing. And I've shown you some of the different materials that I've got. I've got different fun visual trackers to help me along my path. And I have you all to help me out as well. So that's it. I really hope this video was informative for you and just like a fun little insight into how I plan on approaching 2022 and my year of savings. And I'm gonna have so many more videos to come of, like I said, budgeting for that vacation, really putting things down pen and paper on what I plan on doing. I also do plan on filming a video just on my 2022 sinking funds. I'm still developing, the plan of attack for my sinking funds, so I do want to show you that. I also have a video that I do want to film of my budget categories, and I'm kind of in the process again of refining some of my budget categories and how I want to approach this upcoming year. So once again, these are all things that I really hope will be of interest to you, that you'll follow along with me on my journey as I continue on with my year of savings, with starting fresh on a budget once I get into my house. Yeah, that's scary. And all of that good stuff. Please let me know what you thought of this video. It does help my channel to continue to grow. And once again, I will see you in the next video. Bye.